After tackling over 11 years in strategic marketing and event planning for powerhouse retailers Barnes & Noble and Whole Foods Market, Lydia decided it was time to get back to her entrepreneurial roots. In today's episode, Lydia comes on to the Happy Clients podcast and truly pulls back the curtain and tells all. From jumping ship from corporate to agency life and growing a team and what she, as the CEO of her agency, is working on now. If you're an agency owner, I guarantee this will inspire you and leave you ready to take massive action. All right, let's get into today's episode.
Welcome to the Happy Clients podcast, brought to you by Dot & Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to Happy Clients.
We're so excited to have you on the podcast. It's been a while since we connected. Of course, we're always looking to connect with agency owners. Our podcast is focused on agency owners and keeping clients happy, but also you've had quite a journey working with us at Dot and going from training to now working with the CAM. So we wanted to paint the picture of your story and everything.
Absolutely.
Why don't we get started and fill us in on you and how you became the CEO and founder of L Marketing and Events?
Great. Well, I started my very first business when I was 8 years old. I was selling tree climbing lessons to local kids. I don't want to think about the liability of that now.
Yeah.
But that was my very first business. And then I also would find really beautiful rocks, polish them up and sell those too. And I had a little mini store in my backyard. And I came from great entrepreneurial roots. My grandmother was a small business owner and salon owner in Chicago when she immigrated to the United States. And my grandmother on my other side was a singer and ran her band in LA and all over California. And that was kind of her career for a long time, which very much was entrepreneurial as well, because she was in charge of bookings and things like that. And so I had these great examples of amazing women that were doing really amazing things, running their own businesses, and loved doing that myself. And I always had ideas and ways to make money, but I lost that a little bit. And so I entered the corporate world. I kept moving up in every career that I had. I was the community relations manager and event planner for Barnes & Noble, but I started as a barista there. And just worked my way up.
Wow.
And then I was the marketer and event planner for Whole Foods Market. And I thought I had built this career for myself there. I had job stability as a great company. Anytime I told people where I worked, they're like, oh, that is the dream job. And I was like, yes, it is. I get to talk about food and eat food and plan events around food all day long. This is amazing. But after 7 years there, I was trying to move up and things just weren't working out. And if I was going to move up, it would involve an actual move. I would have to relocate. And things just kept not working out and not working out. And then all of a sudden, I was handed the dream position on a silver platter. And they were like, hey, here, this position that you've wanted, if you apply for it, it's yours. And you don't have to move. And you it's everything that you've been working towards for the past 7 years, except your current position is being eliminated. In my head, I was like, well, it's kind of not the same position because actually it's doing the job of a bunch of people that are all getting laid off instead of supervising a bunch of people. I don't feel like that's a true promotion.
A little sneaky for sure. Yeah.
But I thought I had been working towards that for years, right? And so I drove home that day and I was like, well, of course I'm going to take the job. I told them to give me a little bit of time to think about it, but I'm going to apply for it. And I just felt sick on my drive home. I felt sick to my stomach. I walked into our house and without even really thinking about it, I told my husband, hey, I'm going to quit my job tomorrow. And it popped out and I was like, wait, should I have said that? That bad?
I love that.
And he was so smart because he was like, you should do that. Go and do that. And then he pointed out to me, like, you haven't actually been feeling a level of job satisfaction there for a couple of years. I think you've actually been unhappy and you didn't even realize it because you're just such a workhorse. And he's like, so go do that thing that makes you happy. And so sure enough, I went in the next day and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. Everybody was pretty shocked, but I literally walked away from my career with almost no notice at all.
Wow.
And
wow, good for you.
it was scary and exciting all at once.
Did you have a business plan? Did you have a vision for Elle marketing and events
You
at
know,
that point?
I'm not necessarily. I had been doing a little bit of consulting on the side for years, but it was mostly just for fun and like for travel money.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything that I was taking seriously. So I kind of had an LLC already and things like that. My last day at Whole Foods was on a Friday. And I took the next day, Saturday, to be sad. I took Sunday to like freak out and think, what did I even just do? And then on Monday, I got up and I got dressed like I was going to work. And I sat down at my computer and I was like, okay, I am going to send out 3 emails and see if I can get some sort of client.
Some sort of client.
Some sort of client. I don't know what. Like if I can get somebody to pay me for something,
Yeah.
I will dive in and I'm just going to start my business. If not, maybe I'll start polishing up my resume and figuring out next steps. So I wasn't even 100% sure what I was going to do. And I sent out 3 emails and I had 3 clients by the end of the day.
Whoa.
So at that point I was like, well, this must be something. And in my head, I was just going to run a few social media accounts and just work for myself. And it was going to be low key and no big deal. And that didn't happen.
So
you actually became a big deal.
Yeah, entrepreneur spirit, right? You just can't stay small.
No, you really can't. And so I started out just by myself, running a bunch of different social media accounts and teaching some classes. And pretty soon I was like, it doesn't make sense for me to send a bunch of people from your social media to your website. If your website's really bad, maybe we should help people with their websites. And then it was, well, your website copywriting isn't very good. You don't have any blog posts, so maybe we should help with that. And then it was, you really should be connecting with clients on a deeper level, and you don't have an email list or any type of like email newsletter platform. We should probably just give you a hand with that. And so all of a sudden it just grew and grew, but it grew in a really organic way. And as we started adding on clients and team members with different creative skill sets, we were able to do a better job of taking care of our clients in a really impactful way where they could come to us and trust us to handle all the things for them, including the strategy, which is what they really needed help with. That was kind of how it's grown. And we just celebrated our 6th year in business.
Wow, congratulations.
Wow.
That's huge. And Lydia, your story is a little bit different than maybe a lot of the people we talk to, a lot of agency owners. I don't want to say you were forced to it, but you took a leap, and certainly it paid off. Here you are 6 years later, but also you have this really strong vision, this really strong team behind you. Who are your clients and what are your sort of main expertise?
The tagline of Elle Marketing is every business has a story. We help tell yours. And so we work with a lot of clients that have some sort of story brand that they want to highlight. And it's a wide swath. You wouldn't necessarily see a relationship between them. We have a lot of restaurant clients and people in the food industry, packaged food producers and things like that. We also work with a lot of high-end real estate agents because for the same reason, they're selling lifestyle and a story rather than just a house. We, interestingly enough, work with some financial planners. And the reason why is because they are also trying to showcase lifestyle and security and tell a story to differentiate themselves from the million financial planners out there and do it in a way that they can do that. And interestingly, we work with a lot of companies that have to do with pets. I feel like we're constantly doing photo shoots with dogs.
Really?
It's amazing.
It's not a chore. We've got a lot of animal lovers on our team, and we also have a lot of animal lovers as clients as well. Interestingly, before the pandemic, we were starting to niche down. We were really going to say we're working with restaurant owners, food producers, bakeries, bars, food and beverage. And when the pandemic hit, I had a very scary 6 weeks where I was like, I might lose my business as we were starting to niche down. And it was our other clients that really saved us. After 6 weeks or so, everybody kind of doubled down on, we've got to get serious about our marketing if we weren't serious before. But it just taught me that I want to be cautious about going after such a hyper-specific niche that if something happens to that industry, we're out of business too. We kind of deliberately tried to take a step back and be thoughtful about who we're trying to reach in a broader sense.
I think that's smart. And so do you do a lot of events now or mostly online?
Right now, we're just kind of starting to get back to doing events. During the pandemic, we did a lot of events that were digital events or digital classes or courses or things like that. We did virtual events with influencers for some of our clients. And now that we're starting to get back to doing events, where we really tied the events into marketing was as a tool to create content more than anything. So that's how it tied in with all the digital marketing things that we do, is we take it into real world events and invite the right list of people and get the right story down and craft an experience start to finish that felt really authentic. And I'm really excited to get back to that now that things are starting to open back up again. One of our events that we did this summer, we helped with all the marketing and PR and social media and partnered with the event planner on the event itself to have our street team there during it, was the Salt Lake City Busker Fest. So it's basically a giant street performers festival, and it lent itself really well to the time we're in right now because it's outdoors on the street. And so people were not inside. It was very open. They closed down Main Street and a couple of other streets for the performers. It was this huge visual event where we could really tell the story. And we had performers there that said, literally, this is my first performance in front of a live audience in a year and a half or 2 years.
So special.
It was so special, and it was so incredible to be a part of that and to really work on telling that story.
That is so cool and like so special, and really speaks to just the authenticity of your business and who you're trying to work with and the message you're putting out there. And I think what also is really cool about L marketing and events is that your digital marketing, but also coupled with these very like real hands-on events, these experiences that are, you know, we're living in a remote world. So you do have, I think you just said street teams, you have like real people doing real things in real time, and experiencing that physically is so cool and so different from a lot of people just in this digital marketing space sometimes. To actually have that sort of tangible, I guess, piece to your agency is really cool.
And we found really interesting ways of connecting people even virtually. So one of the events that we helped produce over the past year, we have a local Italian market that's really known for craft chocolate as well.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we did with clients was we actually made arrangements to ship a box of chocolate out to them all over the United States, because we have clients all over. We did a virtual chocolate tasting with the owner of this beautiful local business, supporting these small craft chocolatiers. And it was this experience that was educational, but it felt like we were all in the same room, tasting chocolate together and learning together and having this great experience.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm
That's so
stealing
fun.
that.
I know, that's so dot vibes.
And so that's the type of thing where it's like, let's do something that feels special and unique and is a way to connect people. I'm a big believer that people connect really well over food. And so let's bring in that element of gathering around a table but virtually.
I like
Yeah.
it.
You're
I like
kind of
it.
meshing both worlds, which is really cool and not always done, but a little bit difficult to do sometimes, just that innovation and that
Yeah.
creativity. And you are speaking to the right crowd, not even all these people that I know come together over food, but Taylor and I, we are right there with you.
Yeah. Cool. So obviously to run a business like Elle, you need a team. So tell us what the structure of your agency looks like now versus maybe a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago, I would just kind of like call on subcontractors or hire a VA when I needed a little extra help, or I had a bunch of people that I'd worked with over time that could come in for one-off quickie projects. But as we grew, I just needed a level of consistency and a level of support. And so I really started off by bringing in social media managers. And now my social media manager basically has her own content team. So I work with her directly, but she manages an entire team of social media managers and content writers and takes care of that to the point that I don't really even touch social media very much anymore, except for to post like, oh, hey, I had this exciting thing today that I did. And so that was the first thing that I kind of offloaded. And remember, I started out just managing social media accounts. So letting go of that completely was the biggest, scariest step ever, because it was my bread and butter, but it was such a relief to let go of it. And then from there, we started doing a lot of blog content and copywriting and things like that. And so I brought in a couple of dedicated copywriters, one of whom who has since become just a content manager. And so she manages and oversees all the blog posts, all the e-blasts, and she's grown with us over the past couple of years.
Love that.
That's amazing.
And then I'm fortunate enough, like, for example, my graphic designer, we've actually worked together for almost 12 years. She was my graphic designer at Whole Foods Market. And so I have a bunch of people on my team that we've literally been working together 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, 4 years. Like, we've got this really great, consistent team. My big change this past year, this is the year that we grew the most. I added in a client relations manager to help support me with sales and really bringing in the exact right clients and doing that hard work of carefully screening and vetting so that we're working with people that are the perfect match for us and we're the perfect match for them.
Love that.
And then I added in a marketing strategist, so somebody else to just be creative. You know, when you're a business owner, sometimes your creativity just like runs dry because you spent it all and you need to recharge a little bit. And then the other one was really finding a solution for managing both our projects and our clients. And that's really where Dot & Company came into play for us.
Yeah, tell us about that. So you started with training with Emma and then transitioned to bringing in one of our team members.
Yeah.
So walk us through where training came into play and then how you made that decision to just pull us right in.
Yes. And boy, did I pull you right in. Adding so many full-time key people very rapidly, it became clear within about 4 months, I had a project manager that we were trying to get her more training and expand her role. I had my client relations manager and my brand new marketing strategist all kind of step up within about 4 to 5 months of each other. So suddenly I was managing a very full-time team of people, still working heavily in the agency myself. And I had invested really heavily in training for me as a business owner, but it became clear that it was time to invest in my team if I wanted them to be successful, happy, feel supported. I was doing a bunch of research and I was looking at a bunch of options, and I came across Dot & Company. And again, did research, talked with you ladies, like did more research, did some vetting, tried to figure out if it was a good fit, listened to the podcast, read some of your blog posts. It just felt like a good cultural fit, that what I was trying to accomplish within my agency as far as creating genuine connection and making our clients feel genuinely cared for. And so I invested in the training for literally my entire team. It wasn't just like, oh, we're going to buy into the training and put everybody through the modules, I wanted them to get one-on-one training from Emma. And so we met with her a couple of times a month. I had everybody come prepared with questions. I made it really clear to them, like, it's okay if this feels uncomfortable, or if you feel vulnerable, or if it is outside of your comfort zone. That's what training feels like very often. And Emma was fantastic because she was always able to get to the meat of the problem with their questions. Not just like, oh, here's this high level question, but what's the real underlying issue that's triggering that pain point. She was also very helpful because she knew enough about our project management system that she was able to create some custom workflows for us, which was, again, hugely helpful for both me and for my team. And then the interesting thing is, right during the midst of that, my project manager actually had to step away and move on to another position just for personal reasons. She was really sad to go. But it meant that all of a sudden, in the midst of training, my brand new strategist and everybody else had to learn an additional new position very quickly while we worked to find a great solution. And after we had been through the training, it just felt like a no-brainer to work directly with Dot & Company and hire on one of your team members to help us. Because I was also at the point where I was like, I don't have the bandwidth right now to train somebody from scratch. I just don't. I need somebody that is experienced, that knows this system, that's ready to go and can make an immediate impact, because we're expanding so rapidly. We have to be taking care of people and taking care of them quickly.
I love that. And I think you are obviously the best, but the perfect example of how we want training and then hiring a dot cam to go is, you have a need, we help you, and then if there's still a need, then we're here to continue to help you. And sometimes people go in the opposite direction. They might hire us, and then they might need to hire additional team members, then we train them. But it's so cool to just hear your experience going through that and then coming out on the other side with a brand new shiny cam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And our cam is just phenomenal. In that first week, she really dove in and made a point of learning the systems that were in place, creating some templates for things that we needed. She made a point of connecting individually with each of the existing team members and talking about, what is your role? What is your job? What are your pain points? How can I help support you? And then, we've been, over the past 6 or 8 weeks, starting to introduce her to clients, and she's starting to take over some of those client meetings as well, which is a huge help. And just getting her insight on how we could be better and more efficient is always appreciated.
Having this journey, Lydia, even from the training and then having this project manager sort of leave and not leaving you at zero again, you know what I mean? You were able to kind of have somebody ready to level up and be where all the training has brought you, which I think is so cool. And not only does Jen just loves the team so well, and I think that also speaks to this whole other part of Dot & Company, and maybe even sort of aligns with your business, how we want to work with like-minded people where the fit is actually really aligned, it's in tune. We want somebody that, speaks your language, and that sort of matching process is so important to us, and just really solidifies having somebody on your team that not only gets you and your business, but it's just super efficient and can be at that level that, now these trained sort of team members are at too. So definitely like this kind of across the board dot journey, which is so cool. But I think Emma has wonderful things to say about you. So does Jen. So do we. It's a win-win-win for sure.
That's exactly how I feel, where it is providing support for me so that I have a little bit more bandwidth outside of the day-to-day, and I'm seeing that already. It's providing support for my team that was feeling a little bit stretched thin. It's providing a level of additional support for our clients. We grew so fast that some of the feedback we got from them was like, I don't know who to email anymore. Who do I email if I need something?
Jen.
Now it's Jen, exactly. And then also it's a win because because it's something that is also providing for Jen and her journey, and being able to have the flexibility to be around and home when her daughter's there. And so that to me is a win. I'm a big believer that having kids should not exclude women from the workforce on any level, and that providing women with a level of flexibility to still be moms and have a family, like that doesn't just disappear because you go to work.
Exactly.
It doesn't need to be one or the other.
No, it doesn't need to be one or the other, and it shouldn't be one or the other. And we have multiple women that have kids on our team, and I love being able to provide them that level of flexibility as well. So that's a win for our team members, for their families. So I'm really big on the cultural fit, the win-win-wins, and giving people the support, the time, the flexibility to do what they're great at and they love.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just such a positive attitude. And I hate to say, COVID times or whatever, but now we don't always have those 1 week vacations. We don't always have those legit breaks. So the flexibility is so important. And I think we're creating this culture, I always say in all my interviews, work from home versus remote life. It's very different. It's not corporate America working from home, still under the thumb. So they say it's definitely that remote life where you lean into the flexibility and people understand, and yeah, it's kind of having it all, which is super cool. And to be supported from an agency owner like yourself that's just the cherry on top, right? So we have everything good to say about Elle Marketing and events. And I think this journey together has been exceptional and probably pretty helpful for you, but also for us to get to know you has been super helpful. So I guess I can't say enough good things.
Thank you. It has been a phenomenal journey, and I'm looking forward to where we're headed next, because it wouldn't be possible without that solid team in place, which definitely includes Dot & Company.
Oh. Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, Lydia. What is next? What's next for Elle Marketing?
Yeah, I am in the process of launching a second business because, of course, entrepreneurs are serial entrepreneurs.
Yeah, why just have one?
Of course. So we are in the process of launching next year a Restaurant Owners Marketing Academy. So it'll be a digital restaurant academy for restaurateurs, people in the food and beverage space. Mostly because, when you're first starting out as a restaurant owner, margins are really, really thin. You almost can't hire an agency unless you've got a big investor or it's your second or third venture and you've got a nest egg. And so giving those restaurant owners that wear 15 different hats a chance to learn enough about marketing to really get their restaurant up off the ground and to get it to be successful is one of the things that we're working on. So the website is live. We've been working on the learning modules right now. The other thing that we are working on is really expanding. We're going to be expanding our team again a little bit more coming up. So we've got a dedicated website team now. And so before we would just do a website if clients had a need. And they were more one-off projects, but we're actually really going to double down and work on bringing in more of those projects because we have a phenomenal team that we've built that can handle that. And so we're going to be ramping that up next year.
That's amazing. And what about you? Where do you want to be focused on a daily basis as the entrepreneur owner?
So my goal in the next year it's twofold. One is having a little bit more space to actually feel like I can be creative on behalf of my business. I've spent so long being creative for clients, and I love that. And I love that level of brainstorming and collaborating, but having the flexibility to point that lens at my business is something I'm really excited about, because I do have all these ideas, but just not the time to flesh them out or put them into practice. The other goal of mine is to be able to model what I try and tell my team, which is if you need time off to recharge, it's important to take it. And
tell us how, please.
I'm working on those details. But I have found that when I take consistent time away from the business, even if it's a week or two, I come back more creative, more excited, more engaged. And, just things have been so crazy and the world's been locked down for the past year and a half. And so I haven't had, with all the growth of my agency, which is a great problem to have, I'm not complaining. And the world changing so drastically, I haven't had that time. And so I'm starting to model that again for myself and my team. And it really is amazing. I spent 5 days in New Orleans earlier this month. And when I came back, I was like excited to get back to work and more creative. And I came back with fresh ideas. And I think that that's important for any entrepreneur, as hard as it is and as complicated as it is, just finding a way to do that. And so those are the two areas where I really want to put my focus in the next year.
Amazing.
If you do want to learn more about Elle Marketing and Events, where would we do that?
You can find us at our website, which is ellemarketingandevents.com. You can also find us on Facebook. It's just Elle Marketing and Events on Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel, Elle Marketing and Events, and we do regular video content there, regular educational content.
Love it. And we'll link those up in the show notes for sure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Lydia. It's been awesome to obviously reconnect, but just hear your journey from start to where you are now. And we can't wait to see what's next.
Cheers to happy clients.